Right. Okay, guys. So we said we would jump on, me and Paddy. It's been a while since we've been on together. I think we've met up once maybe in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that's been, I suppose, difficult as regards running a business and stuff like that. But the value of Zoom and modern technology is fantastic. Yeah. So I said we would get together and go, right, Paddy, let's chat to the group with regards to what we've learned from the last 6 months and what we're going to do going forward. So since COVID has hit, or since the thing kicked off, I've moved more towards doing the PracticeNav management side of stuff, and Paddy's moved towards more the Compass Physio or the clinical side of stuff. So that's how we're working best at the moment, I suppose, and it's been probably a good thing in some sense because it gives more clarity around different issues for staff and stuff like that. So yeah, Paddy, first of all, thank you for giving us your time today. So what do you think of that statement, or as regards like the last 6 months, I suppose, as regards dividing up roles initially? Or
Yeah, well, I think what's the word that everyone's using? Pivot at the moment. Everyone has to pivot. But yeah, look, Friday the 13th, I used to think, it's a mid thing. But that Friday the 13th of March, fuck me, the world really pivoted. And it was literally like, okay, this thing is real, this is happening, what are we going to do? And I suppose there was probably a day or two we were like, okay, what's going on? But then we just reverted back to our systems, our structures, and just started communicating. And we talked for quite a few hours and said, okay, what's the plan? What are we going to do? And look, everyone's okay. We're all here. We've made it through. And yeah, the business is going really well. Clinic's going really well. And I think definitely our systems and our processes helped us. I think if there's kind of maybe 2 or 3 things that I'd look back on that definitely helped us. One is the communication side of things. So us communicating between ourselves, then us communicating with the staff. So telling everyone, here's what's happening. And here's going to happen with regard to the payment. Here's with regard you're leaving us, or you're going to be going to the payment support scheme, and keeping them in the loop. And it's something that kind of is a thread that runs throughout our business, where even if it comes to our turnover, our profit, our expenses, majority of our staff know exactly that inside out. And I know it's something that a lot of clinicians might be a bit hesitant about sharing with their staff members.
So on that one, why is that? Why do we do that? I suppose as regards like, so Anita's next door and she's gone through our cash analysis and she's gone,
yeah,
what are you spending money on this for? What's this account here? Who owns these wages here? She's a good understanding of it. Emer has as well, and So
I think there's a couple. One is an objective viewpoint where we are entrepreneurs. We can get a little bit excited by certain things, and sometimes nice to have someone going, "Hey lads, what's that? why are you spending that much on whatever?" So I think that's useful, but it's the big picture. If you want to call it the painted picture, if you want to call it the big hairy audacious goal, call it whatever you want. It's what are we aiming for? We've just had a conversation about other stuff, haven't we, before we came on this call, where does it fit into the big plan? And I like to think, look, we're pretty good at what we do, but we'll never make it alone. And if we're the bosses and they're our employees, that'll get us so far. Whereas if we can actually get the guys you mentioned and the other team members working towards it and understanding and buying into the big goal and understanding the steps, it just makes things a lot easier. We probably started off with, here's how you're going to do stuff, here's how it's going to work. We knew the numbers. We don't want to share that in case they think, oh God, we're making too much money, or we're not making enough money, they want to go get a job somewhere else. It's like open book, any questions, come and ask us.
Okay.
And it definitely helps. And chatting regularly to the team, saying, okay, what are your concerns? What are your questions? So rather than a dictatorship, it's they'll see stuff front end, communications back from patients, certain things that are happening, and they'll send a flare up to us, and we'll go, okay, let's deal with this early.
More inclusiveness.
So it's trying to get them to understand where we're heading, and if they want to be part of it, and them being part of the team and getting us to the goal. And I know for a fact we'll get there a lot quicker if there's a few people working towards it. Yeah, we have to make some tough decisions and tough calls, but hopefully they'll understand that when the tough calls are made, or they're forewarned. You know, if we have to let somebody go, okay, X, your time with us is done. They're aware of it. They know there's been steps in communication there where it's like you're not performing, or we have to make cutbacks, and it doesn't come as a surprise.
Like a clinical problem, they can see the clinical reasoning behind the business decision at the end of the day. So there's a reasoning behind it. Okay. So that would be, I suppose, one of the big things from the last 6 months is our ability to communicate with staff, ourselves, business partners, family partners as well, I suppose, and then obviously the patients as well. So keeping them in the loop as well. So communication would have been a big thing over the last 6 months. What other, say, 2 things which have gone right?
I think communications ties into the systems, and obviously you love systems, but it's just the systems. It's just knowing that, you know, it's literally, it took what, an hour. Okay, we're going to go online. We're going to go virtual. We're going to flick the online. We actually had a prep from last year, but we're going to go online bookings for virtual consultations. Turn off face-to-face, online bookings. Someone starts on the website, boom, there you go. Set up your automated link, set up your how-to guide. Here's a video of how to access it. Here's what's going to happen. Here's your video of what it's going to look like. Here's what to expect. You're going to get your exercise afterwards, and it just reduces people's anxiety or lack of surety. And at the moment, there's just a general sense of anxiousness and unsurety, anxiety with people. So the more confident reassurance you can give them, the better. So we could literally just flick on the online consultations. I think one of the biggest learning curves is probably going to feed into what we're going to chat about is just, we now know how to do that and do that really well. So if there is, obviously, I'm from Kildare, our clinic is in Meath, thankfully at the moment, but it's thinking, worst case scenario, what if there is another lockdown? How can we flick back to being online?
Within 30 seconds.
Yeah, literally within 30 seconds. Change something on the website, put up your little pop-up, change your clinical stuff, send a mail shot out to the database, and keep chatting to them. And we were sending regular emails. And I definitely changed my writing style over the lockdown, where it became less about the bloggy weekly blogs, and it's more like, how are things? You know, how are you? Did you notice this the weekend? Did you hear this? Did you see Rory's stories or whatever? Resonating with people and get some nice replies back. And it became a little bit more conversational, where people are writing back, oh, thanks for that, I needed that bit of a pep up or whatever.
So more of a storytelling thing.
I think a lot of people had it who maybe didn't do it as well or did, but once we reopened the clinic to face-to-face, literally straight back up. You know, we're busy again because you're front and center of people's minds. And I think that was important as well.
So having the systems in play, so like investing in systems. I was talking to someone this morning and we're going, okay, well, if we are looking at the government supporting at the moment, it's the 25th of August now, so it's that 70% threshold. I said to someone this morning, can you show me exactly what you made in August last year? Oh no, I'd have to get my receipts books and I'd have to go do this, this, and this. And it's like, we can do that in, again, the space of 30 seconds with Clinico, right? 1st of August, 31st of August, 2019. Here's the total that we made. Here's the total we made this year. Is there a difference of 70% or whatever it is? So it's having that investment in your system. It just makes it.
And it's understanding that it's self-assessment, isn't it? So obviously we had a good chat with our accountant, but like, it's up to you individually as clinicians and clinic owners, but you could go from your payment support to your 200 odds per week per person, you know, that's working for you. But self-assessment, you could say, grand job, I'll take that for the next 2-3 months, and self-declare that you're below the 70. But you know, revenue at some point are going to look back and go, okay, lads, hang on a second here. So it's being able to access information quickly and make informed decisions. You know, that's probably the key thing. And the other thing I think we learned from lockdown was just the opportunity. I think some people in this group did some Trojan work, and some people stayed closed a bit longer. But just the opportunities, you know, we used to obviously chat on Zoom, you know, every couple of days, but like, okay, what are we doing today? And whether it was writing our, you know, for me, writing our systems, our playbook for Compass Physio, whether you was doing some more stuff around PracticeNav, it's just using that time. Okay, and that's a mindset thing, isn't it? It's literally going, deadly. when am I going to get a chance for 3 months to do stuff again?
Yeah. What's the opportunity in this one?
Yeah.
That's a question. I think I read it in a book, Jack Canfield, one time. I think it was like, there's opportunity in absolutely everything you do. So it's like, what's the opportunity here today? You know, there's something.
So classes like, you know, the Pilates stuff, the announcement with the 6 people inside, and I think some people might get distracted by guidelines and who's putting the guidelines in here. And yeah, we need guidance, but it's also going, okay, so how are we going to work? Do we just do everything online? That's our focus. We'll focus all our energies into pushing that. We're going to really push the online stuff. We're going to create a great group rather than, oh God, 6 is working while doing 6. Will I won't I? Might wait till next week and find out, see if it changes. Make a decision. Go for it. Clear.
And on that one is a really good point you're making there as regards online is going to be the potential focus. With online, you're in complete control. So it doesn't matter if it's only down to 2 people in a group or 22 people, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want online as regards the classes. So taking control of that, you control the variables. So you charge the prices, you set the times, there's no restrictions on that.
Yeah. And I think as well as the discussion we had was probably mitigating risk. That's every conversation comes down. What do you, worst case scenario, can you mitigate the risk? Someone comes in, you're in there with them for an hour, they're in the class, there's a knock-on effect, etc. I think the clinic one-to-one, face-to-face is just more controlled. And guys, if we're in August and obviously up around us here, it's already getting twitchy with numbers of cases in Kildare and different meat plants and bits and bobs. The projections for schools going back, you have to look at that and go, okay, what can we control? What can we keep ourselves safe? If we can get people to sign up for direct, monthly direct debit, we have a regular cash flow. We know people are signed up. And then our challenge is just to focus on offering them a good service and quality service. And if we can do that, we keep numbers in the group and they form a habit whereby they go, great, a couple of times a week I'm going to jump on, do me Pilates online, and they're in a little group and a support group, and that becomes the new norm.
Brilliant. So just to recap on that, so last 6 months, what we've done, or what I suppose you've done as regards the Compass Physio and the clinic, is regards communication with staff, all interested parties, basically staff, clients, partners, life partners, whatever. Communication is a big one. Investing in your systems is number 2 then, and just having the systems there where you can just flick a switch, bang, and it's gone. It's on or it's off, or you're tweaking it, whatever. And then the other thing was the opportunity, the big opportunities in the different bits and pieces. So they're the 3 things that we've picked up on in the last 6 months. Going forward then,